Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read in concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're looking at a piece of original fiction. We are looking at Infinite Shades by Crystal Committee. We are on chapter 17, and apparently Crystal Committee messaged me privately and said that there's like 17 sections to chapter 17, and in my last video I had read sections 1 through 4, and I don't know where we're going to end today. We're going to set a timer for 30 minutes and we're going to start here on section 5, and I will note all of this in the title and in the description. If you are new here, please like and subscribe, and welcome. If you are interested in having a read done, I do private reads and public reads. You can choose, and first chapters are free. All of my authors that I have read more than one chapter for have their own playlist, so you can go over to Crystal Committee's playlist and you can follow along Infinite Shades from the very beginning. So with that, I'm going to set my little timer over here, and we are going to dive right in and get started on our read. Here we go. Oh, section 5. I kind of want to back up for context. It looks like, but we got a lot of dialogues. Maybe we'll just jump right on in here. Yeah, what do you know about it? Sam leans in, a puzzle with half the pieces missing. She's holding the corner. Okay. Not much beyond what's in the file they gave your team, she begins. Most of it came from me, nudging information into the light. Official records were scrubbed clean. Did I miss something? You didn't overlook it. She left it out on purpose. No, Amanda pauses. My interest, small as it was in righting some wrongs. I've got a solid recollection of your history. Don't remember her in it, though it'd be helpful if I did. You wouldn't. It wasn't direct. There might be slight hints of her from Landing View when we were first coming to. She was there. Briefly, yeah. Not sure if I recognized her voice from your perception or mine. Her voice, Sam echoes. Right after we separated, you were taking one of those rests. Coma, Sam corrects, as they saw it, but I knew the bees were still humming in there. She stayed. The reasons we don't care, but you should. Pausing. Okay, so I feel like we're in Sam's point of view. But I'm noting here, this seems like this is probably a committee thought. And if that is the case, I really don't want it next to Amanda's dialogue here, because typically the committee is in Sam's head. So I'm just going to highlight this little section right here and put a note on it, musings and video, to kind of mark the spot for Crystal Committee so they can find it pretty quickly. And with that, we're going to keep going. Also, I kind of want to go back. Did I miss something? No, I think that was Sam. Yeah. See, and so the committee being paired in the same line as Sam works for me because they're in her head. And the same thing up here. All right, we're going to keep going. Amanda's words take on a quiet reverence. I was there through all of them. Every surgery. To them, you were unconscious. To us, you weren't. The crystal wouldn't let you slip away. Your body shouldn't have felt it, but you did. We did. You were right when you told Garrett. They weren't gentle. They were abusive in a way the Onyx liked. In all these years, you've never said that. Why now? It's that I don't want to hurt you thing. When I recall them, it's like watching a silent video. You, however, get all the fixings. I triggered that because we were together. You argued with me to step back and let it be. And you pushed forward and insisted. You two excel at choosing mutual destruction over calm discussions. Bravo. I didn't know when I grabbed that crystal how much they already had. Okay, hold please. I think that this is Sam and that this is the committee and this is still Sam. So if this is still Sam, I kind of want this dialogue up here. I'm not entirely sure though, but the way I'm reading it and the way I went to reread it makes me think that it's Sam. And I'm just going to tag that line for you. Okay. I didn't know when I grabbed that crystal how much they already had. Those surgeries we endured, it would have pushed it past the edge, far worse than when we split. I fought to own the cuts they made. It wasn't my first time. I could take it. If I died on that table, so did you, Sam counters. Okay, so this was Amanda. I'm so confused right now. Hang on. Okay, so this was Sam. This was Amanda. All right, I'm back. I didn't know when I grabbed. Okay, here's the thing. When I read this paragraph, I was remembering Sam grabbing the crystal around. What did she grab it around Amanda's neck, or she already had it? She had it. Okay, Sam and Amanda grabbed it. Okay, I was misremembering it. I had to check my recall there. So Sam was wearing it, but Amanda knew what it was, and she grabbed it. Got it. I'm back. It's been a minute since we had the very, 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 very beginning. We're on 17 now, so, I mean, all right, we're good. If I died on that table, so did you, Sam counters. Cold logic, but true. Yes, part of me accepted it. The onyx? No. You screamed bloody murder and wouldn't allow it. Lesser of evils. I chose you. I shoved you away to keep the crystal from reacting. Even now, I don't know if it made a difference. It was my body, and it was activated. But what was happening was my fault. Was it? Her gaze drills into Amanda. Yes. The word slipped. It's suggesting slipped. I'm going to roll with it. The word slipped out. Although it's more present tense, so it should be present. Slips. It should be slips. Hang on. We'll get it. Yes, the word slips out. You didn't know. Lost. Deer in the headlights when we met. Don't fight me on it. We both know. When we split, I took things I won't give back. You agreed, or we'd be dead. The growl rumbles low in her throat. Amanda points a finger at her. Not the all-knowing, but close enough. She averts her eyes. The reason I don't want you to digging in Phoenix, those recordings, I know you'll find them. I think this is supposed to be lower. And so is this one. Sadistic bastards always keep proof. Are you suggesting Steiner tortured me for pleasure? Not him. The others? Absolutely. But he let it happen. That's why my anger sits with him. We know this. Her fists tighten. I didn't want you to know. It was because of me, not you. You're sure? Oh, there you go, insisting with the even voice. As much as I can be. You go digging around there, connections are going to be made to things you hold of mine. That crystal will light up where you could see it from space, and we both know what follows that. Is that what you're afraid of? Yes. Let her speak. Even you can't argue with that honesty. Floor is yours, Sam gestures, one hand moving from her center to the side. We're on to section 6. I'm thinking as I go, I'm just going to say the things. It's still internal thoughts. It's actions like, use your tools in your room to give them things to do because that lends to your story. Facial expressions are always helpful. I have dialogue, but I don't have a lot of feelings. Okay. And I think that's all that's missing so far. And it's probably pretty consistent on through. And I feel like you messaged me and said that was the case. So I'm not going to harp on those things. I'm going to keep going. Oh, I was not prepared for that. Amanda's voice carries a tremor. Okay. Phoenix, some bits in there, guaranteed. The rest of it comes from Garrett having me check on Carter. As I dug around his history, I saw that the man had changed when Simmons disappeared. I don't like saying it, but with their relationship, and not a hint of where she went to, all we are is dust in the wind. Dead. Do we need a space there? It looks kind of tight. I'm just going to put one in. Amanda's lips part. I want to question, but Sam shakes her head. Missing is what I was handed. Dead is what I can resolve. A nondescript grave, or she ran her car off the road in some remote locale and hasn't been found yet. I feel for the man. Correct if we are wrong. Dead's easier, just some paperwork. Missing, that's a gateway to conspiracy theories, like Amelia Earhart, where every whisper turns into a rabbit hole. On that, we're on the same page. Can we agree? Yes, she answers both questions. It's a festering spot. Garrett asked me to find some information that was public domain that could at least justify an inquest. Because you run in those dark spaces, he can't. Amanda continues. Yeah, Then he let me in on the possible new team, and I worked from there. How much of that file is fiction? Sometimes lies sell better than truth, like Watergate, just enough fiction to bury the real scandal. The committee sounds. I kind of felt like this was an afterthought. Maybe tuck it between here or up front and then a comma leading into the committee's voice. I feel like this was an afterthought. I'm just going to say musings and videos so that you can kind of find the spot that I'm talking about. But when I read it out, it kind of felt like an afterthought to me. We're going to keep going. Most of it, they scrubbed it clean. We're talking you and I disappearing level. Well, more me. You didn't need to vanish. Amanda flicks an invisible speck from her sleeve, casual in delivery, careful in meaning. Sam rustles the notepad's edge. Got it. If you're going to pull the wool over my eyes, keep it on the paper. Not our intent, Amanda counters. The file existed before your return. Had to get creative aging the materials to make them authentic. One of my better physical works. The content? Finding anything public on her was nearly impossible. Impressive, Sam admits. You'll fill me in on whatever I need to clear it up when the time comes? I'll work from the angle given and see what Carter offers. He knows something. I felt it when I brought it up. Too volatile to push further. She pauses. What's not in there? The Garrett off-the-books materials? I know better than to think that's in a file somewhere. It's impossible to pin down his operatives unless he gives them up. Classic Cold War tactics. Compartmentalized, anonymous, disposable. No one knew the full picture, not even his assets. Sam hums. You work with him because you've got holes yourself. Yeah, we know that, she rolls her eyes. They worked off the record by design, some of the best operators out there. She lifts a finger, cutting Sam off before she can speak. One might compare them to your parents, especially from Garrett's perspective. Skilled, hard to track. What I knew earned professional respect from me. Big of you to suggest. It's true, he isolated his operators, kept them impossible to single out. Amanda's fingers drum once against the table, a quiet punctuation. Once that happened, they became targets. From what I kept of your history, Carter wasn't in it. Amanda shakes her head, as if trying to recall missing pieces. Nope, just a vague outline of someone. Most of what I learned came after I saw the light. He and Simmons were Garrett's best assets until... Down into the rabbit hole. Missing in madness, it's a pattern, not coincidence. Someone made it that way. Until, Sam prompts, her pencils hover over the page, waiting. She fell off the map. After that, Carter made waves, got vocal, and crossed a few lines. Bright side, it took eyes off us. Off of us? Off of us. Let me try it again. Bright side, it took eyes off of us. The dark, the balance they had was disrupted. He went off the grid, fell into obscurity, swirled, leaving Garrett with his best go-to team when he needed them the most. I have to agree, leaning on dead and murder to boot. Not the accident in being off the grid enough to have no one notice. Any guesses who might be behind it? Amanda takes a moment. I was out, incapacitated by an avalanche, death and all that. The official record had her on a classified assignment, but as to the details, nothing. Those that could speak of it are dead or in a position to know mentoring it would be the end of them. Mentioning it. I misread that, my bad. Okay, let me go back and try it again. My husband is in the background making noise, and it's very distracting. Okay. He kind of came in the middle of this, and I paused already, and I was like, dude, clear the room. And then he's still making noise. I try to read when no one's here, and sometimes that's what causes my delays. But his schedule's wonky, so let me try this paragraph again from here. Amanda takes a moment. I was out, incapacitated by an avalanche, death, and all that. The official record had her on a classified assignment, but as to the details, nothing. Those that could speak of it are dead or in a position to know mentioning it would be the end of them. Sounds familiar. If she's protecting it, there's a reason. It's not about you. It's about what she can't afford to lose. But secrets like this, they always leave collateral damage. Section 7. Amanda inhales. I think another board member recruited her as the visible half of their partnership, operating inside Garrett's domain without his knowledge. She clears her throat. An unknowing spy. The board never moves without intent. She was a pawn on purpose, like Churchill said. In wartime, truth is so precious that she should always be attended by a bodyguard of lies. That common with the board? Sam rests her chin in her free hand. Not sure, but my gut says yeah. I'll tread carefully. My spidey senses, good enough for a warning system? You reference comic book instincts. With great power comes great responsibility. Stan Lee said that right before Peter Parker's whole life imploded. And Einstein, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. Sam continues. Think Carter's an ICID asset? Just another layer of the mess, one with claws. No, he's Garrett's, like your parents, like Ronald, if he's still around. The only difference is we know about ICID, the board, the bigger picture. She takes a steadying breath. To them, the orders were legitimate because they were. That's what made Garrett such a pain in the ass. His resources were fluid, justified, executed through whatever agency fit the mission. No direct connection, no pattern, no base of operations, no way to predict where the next hit was coming from. I can see how that'd be a nightmare. Yet he always had a hand in it, Amanda adds. Smart. Yeah. Predictability is a weapon. Sam twirls her pencil between her fingers. This is how chess masters thrive, turning patterns into strategy. Carter called me that Clemens when I mentioned my first run-in with Steiner. He seemed surprised I wasn't a quadriplegic. Or a teenager. Why? Amanda rests her chin in her palm. Do I have to spell it out? Sam glances up at her. They share a brief smile before she returns to her notebook. Guess not. What about Ronald? He's a shadow. The scientist in some hidden lab unraveling the onyx, your crystal, maybe the emerald if it crossed his path, and whatever lets Garrett bend time and poke holes in his memory. Sam raises an eyebrow. Could you be more vague? Sure, but that's all I've got. I built the profile in my head. A little mystery keeps the game interesting and us alive. He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land. The committee muses, quoting the Beatles. Einstein said it best. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Ronald's work reminds us of the Manhattan Project. Brilliance hidden in the shadows, reshaping the world. So is Ronald his real name? He was real. Still is? No idea. I was deep in this. Maybe you don't remember. Want me to share something? From when? Landing view. We were fighting. I stepped back so you could describe me to Garrett. Get real help. But when it came time to lock it down, I was pissed at you, Sam smirks. I'm smart, but damn, give them the virus breakdown. Think they'd listen to someone like me? Amanda chuckles. Hail Mary move, but it worked, didn't it? Sorta, Sam says. The point? Garrett said it. We saw him through your eyes. Dr. Ronald Herman, he was close. Remember him saying that to Dr. Anders? That's a lot of question marks right there. I'm wondering if some of them couldn't be statements. I'm just going to highlight it for you to kind of look at and consider. I'm not sure. You know, I did. You know I did. It's when you calm down. Sam pinches the bridge of her nose. I hate going back there. Hate it. Recognize that. I'm done. No, it's an unanswered question, Sam exhales. You're saying Ronald, his friend from the 1930s, is Dr. Ronald Herman the one who helped us? Amanda shrugs, grasping at straws. But why would Garrett be so specific? You ran and hid after that. Scared the shit out of me. I was alone. I didn't know the committee from a black hole. You did, and if you think I could get them to admit they're anything other than a pain in my ass, still debating dropping them in a bottomless pit. Burial? Let us know how that works out. We, the committee, have more power than you think. Tread carefully. Won't work. Amanda does her best to read Sam. Sorry, did they cross a line? The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living. The committee quotes Cicero. They didn't just cross it. They burned it, danced in the ashes, and moved on like nothing happened. We're working on it. Your getting involved only makes it worse. Alexander Solzhenitsyn? Solzhenitsyn? Okay. Says it best. The line between good and evil passes not through states, nor between classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart. Section 8. Sam's head shakes, nods, then rolls around. God, I feel like a bobblehead. I look like a bobblehead. At least you're entertaining. Self-awareness is step one. Funny, bobbleheads were loyalty symbols in 19th century Germany. Makes you wonder what you're loyal to. Maybe. Let's just move past it. It feels like they want to dive into it, which is why I don't. Okay. Ronald. Works I attributed to him over the years. One person or a group, I'm not sure. That's just the name I gave. And Garrett's been not forthcoming. Guess we all have our blind spots, Sam shrugs. The Cambridge Five proved betrayal thrives in trusted circles. Friends, colleagues, allies. Garrett's layers might make him a legend or a liability. It's inevitable, but this one feels personal, doesn't it? Then I met you and everything flipped upside down. Happens when you see someone from a different perspective. She gives an impish smile. I suspect from the day you were born, he knew you were something special. I'm not sharing one of those because I believe it was close to when you came into the world. He diverted off in an uncustomary way. Strategic diversions saved lives in the Battle of Britain, but Amanda's no Churchill. Sam looks up. That was you blocking a tangent for me? She senses the acknowledgement in the depth of it. No, she's better. He didn't have plants that pay rent. Amanda nods, then continues. You were to be protected. You gave him the non-uncle or friend of your parents' angle. He took steps toward that end. Before the digital age, keeping your DNA profile and specialness a secret was easy. But now, when everything moves at the speed of light, complicated, especially when there's some actively looking. Carter's the one Garrett turned to. Hid your parents, wiped their digital records, kept the trail clean. You've been doing this for centuries, haven't you? Sam smirks. Yeah, something like that, she chuckles. But there's a nervous edge. Neither of us can stay off the radar. Same place, same time. I vanish with the trust prize. My plane disappears, and we both end up at the same hospital. They were looking hard, not just for me, but anyone who had a clue what happened on that mountain. Then there's your miracle recovery. All those poking at you, scrutinizing your data. Off the charts complicated. Carter's good, but not that good. Are you dissing on my partner now? No. Just checking. She smirks. Then Simmons disappears around the same time. Coincidence? I dare say not. She looks toward Sam. Sam meets Amanda's gaze. She's holding something. Go ahead, Severin. Spill. Don't tell me there's a connection. It's how I built the file you're using. You're the guru. Can you roll it out? No, but can't rule it in either. Add it to the list. The ever-growing mountain of maybe. Someone calls Sisyphus. This one's got his name all over it. She continues scribbling in her notebook as ain't no mountain high enough sounds in her mind. Sisyphus is flattered, but says you're on your own. I'll add it to the gigantic list of coincidences that aren't so coincidental. Most centering on Landing View, supposed to be dead, buried, or long forgotten. Yet aren't, Amanda clarifies. With us, everything leads back to that day. 1 in 100 trillion chances of it working out as it has. Everyone connected, even in a small way, was, is, or will be affected by it somehow, whether or not they're aware of it. Sometimes the most improbable outcomes are the ones that matter most. As Pascal said, probability is not certainty. Miracles are just statistical anomalies wrapped in timing. Yeah, you want to step back into the mind space and plot that all out? No, Amanda whips her head side to side. Let me have my delusion that one instinctual decision in the heat of survival didn't change everything. Delude away. You know I can't. Sam puts the pencil down, flexing her hand to free the building cramp. Carter and his setup helped me decipher this. What's your take on it? She turns the legal pad around. Amanda flips through to the next page, then a few more, snapping her fingers like she's orchestrating a symphony. Sam places the pencil in her hand. She marks the margins. Is this everything? What they showed you this morning? Yeah. And then Sam reaches over, takes the notepad, shuffles to an empty page, and scribbles. This was the wrapper. We got this from the chip activating in a virtual model. When she's finished, she turns it around for Amanda to analyze. She senses the shift before it shows on her face. What is it? Amanda swipes, and the chip schematic springs to life between them. Beside it, lines of code cascade upward in steady streams. This is what I got. Difference in interpretation, you versus Carter. Or they knew enough to target mine where it was vulnerable. Failure can be considered a success when pinging a system. 1,000 ways it didn't work, Sam mutters. Section 9. Yeah, she tilts the notepad, adjusting for a better angle as the lead scratches against the paper. The answer will be in the differences. You analyzed it in a virtual environment, which means no frequencies bounced off or were taken in, whereas the real one adjusted, floating some changes on a return data chain. Under pressure that burns a building down, echoes from the committee. David Bowie, I'll take that one, because I am, but I'm glad you're expanding your repertoire, building me a soundtrack. I'm liking it. A friendly signature combination that could get past both organic and non-organic elements. Amanda circles a large section. I give an extra space right there. I quarantined it before it came through the door, but I'd handled the bat flower before they finished their analysis. Sam arches an eyebrow. So your partial DNA signature attached to it got in safely? Then what? It used its set of keys to unlock the kingdom, making copies as it went, building them all up in what you found. So if I'm following, what let it in also kept it from getting out? Irony loves to crash your parties, doesn't it? The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. Samuel Johnson said that. But you're living it. Uh-huh. And the countdown Sam presses. Following the trend in my vitals, the environment. If I kept pounding the laced pills, raising my toxicity, I'd have killed off the Liveware's defenses, letting the Onyx run amok. No need for your override. And we're here again, skirting the edge of disaster. How is this my normal? We'll work on that, but incident averted. Welcome to Club Disaster. Lifetime membership included. Feels like Apollo 13. Everything failing at the worst time. Keep this up, though, and you'll find either a better way or crash spectacularly. No in between. Sam closes her eyes for a long moment, letting out a breath. So next question is, why is it locking me out now? Why is it, I wanted why is it locking me out as well. We're going to go with the suggestion. Amanda tilts her head, bird-like. Downer when dealing with almost sentient systems linked in with living tissue, that they learn and adapt. And like us, our immune systems can get a little out of control when we're sick. It sees me as a threat. Poetic, isn't it? Like Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. You need to show the system you're not the enemy. Fast. Yeah, you became another security measure that needs to be bypassed. The payload's out, Sam states. No, it can't. Liveware's still filtering, but it won't take long to break through. Can you stop it? Yeah, now that I know what I'm looking for. Amanda picks up the tablet. The image between them flickers and fills with scrolling text. This'll take a while. That's it. Yeah, but do we need anything in return? What do you mean, like revenge? Uh-huh. When something messes with my network, Mama, and baby cubs, it's not wise to get between us. Anger's a great motivator, but it's a terrible guide. As Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. We know that's a personal given when you met, but channel that fire into solutions, not destruction. Unless you plan on torching everything, yourself included. Sam rubs her hands on her face. I picked up the intentions there. Your job. That puts you in. Tracking down those trying to break into your system, that's within bounds, so it's protecting yourself. Now, if you mean sending heuristic material to the masses, that's bad. Rules. Yeah, well, you've been having Steiner on us 24/7. This wouldn't happen. Oh, yeah, well, you'd think having Steiner on us 24/7, this wouldn't happen. Not saying it wouldn't, Sam snorts, but I'm going to use him to solve the problem. The enemy we know. Don't get too comfortable in that. Sam leans forward, lacing her fingers. Trusting him is like playing chess against a grandmaster. You never know if you're winning or being played. Alliances like this, as old as time, fragile, calculated, and never without cost. He asked for my help on a case. Section 10. Sam sidesteps the question, rubbing her fingers together. It was painful for him, but honest, and she half smiles. It might resolve one of those nagging questions from the catastrophe that was our arrival at Landing View. Calling it a catastrophe is generous. Nuclear fallout would have been easier to explain. Carrot, horse, he's baiting you. Or not. Everything about that day and the following weeks and months was analyzed. People got sick. Our arrival was the focal point. Me, not us. Not you. It was my blood, the onyx within it, my death, and its natural retributive response. Blood, plus my betrayal of it just hours before. Sam lifts an eyebrow. Retribution doesn't feel so natural when it's scorching a whole town to ash. Are you sure? She studies Sam. So what string is he pulling now? Not just a string, a damn rope, coiled and ready to tighten if we're not careful. That explosion downtown, a deep undercover agent was a victim. He wants to know if he was the intended target. Okay, and what does this have to do with us? Sam leans forward. Agent Briggs inquired through Steiner about materials buried within Phoenix. Before you ask, yes, they kept it all in hard copy, under lock and key. Only a handful of people know of its existence, and even fewer have access. Steiner being one. No surprise there. Anytime there are inquiries about what's contained within it, all sorts of silent alarms go off, and quiet investigations occur. Honeypot with some tasty yet benign morsels to see who, if anyone, is looking. Amanda smirks. Yeah, there's enough detail that if I were hitting it from the outside, my curiosity would be satisfied. No surprise you've poked the defenses. It's what makes Briggs' inquiry interesting. He knew something related was within Phoenix and that it would send up flags to touch it any other way. He suggests he had ties to the original events. Oh, I'm sorry. It suggests he had ties to original events. Yeah, off-site analyst, counting all the gloves used, identifying incoming and outgoing calls, follow-up interviews with all the patient's family and such, a detail man, ensuring nothing slipped through the net. Okay, that is my timers. Let me highlight my spot because I don't know how much further we have to go in this section. Oh, we're almost done. Let's go down to the end of the section so we can start next time on section 11. Yeah, let's just keep going. Even you can't catch everything. Smart people accept that and prepare for it. So what was Briggs asking that Steiner needed your help? Sam hesitates, then drops it. Your wedding ring. A relic of a life buried, but history doesn't stay quiet. Artifacts hold more than memories. They hold power over those who remember. Oh, the word slips out on a whisper. Didn't see that coming. Neither did I. Yeah, I felt that, Sam points at her. They questioned me about it. Didn't know what had happened. Still don't. Amanda leans back, arms crossing. I wouldn't have been able to say anything pertinent about it. Aware, and I'll be reviewing the transcripts and recordings of those interrogations to make sure. Don't, please, Amanda begs. What I went through and experienced it was nearly too much for me to handle. She swallows hard. Even secondhand, they will tear you apart. Say it out loud. Silence doesn't write history, but subtext does. Moments like this shape the unspoken truths of what comes next. All right. Amanda stares at her. That's it? You're just letting it go? Yeah. Sam shrugs, like it's nothing. Another test? Sorta. Steiner, Briggs, the ring, real or falsehood for your test? Legit. You think I could put together something that elaborate? Yeah, especially when there's doubt about who or what is in control here. Amanda touches her temple. I don't like that you have to do it. Okay, so we're going to pause on section 11. I'm going to highlight my spot where I left off. So, as always, your dialogue reads very, very clean. I feel like we've got more from the committee than we do from Sam's internal thoughts or feelings about what's happening. We don't have a lot of them utilizing the space around them to move through the scene, which would help make it real, and facial expressions or body language, something to the sort. You have a couple of things here and there, but it's definitely skeletal, okay? So your dialogue's always good, but we're missing like you've got the bones. You got the bones and you need the meat, okay? So I know that you had sent me a message saying you're working on all of that with this section, so. But the dialogue reads well, so there's that. I'm going to end here, and I will talk to you soon. I'll see you guys next time on Mystery Odd Reads.